Friday. It is noon somewhere in the world, and we are going to lay some really crazy crap on you. And it's so crazy, David. I want you to keep your Mickey Mouse ears on because Donald and Daffy Duck ain't going to like this one. Look, David, did you see that?
Absolutely.
What is
Check
that,
that out.
David? What is that?
That's a swastika, my friend.
Oh, I got to tell you, David, I, in my life, didn't believe when I got sent this, right? And that's not the first
Yep.
time I saw that because this comes from this designer from 1975, this Vivian Westwood from the wonderful Great Britain, the home, by the way, of the skinheads, by the way. I don't know if you knew that.
No,
It really was in Germany. It was out of England. David, I'm sorry, I just stole your thunder.
no, no,
But
no, no, no.
tell me how you really feel.
You know what, Stuart? I'm repulsed. I'm upset. I'm furious. I am. So let's take a little step back, folks. The video you just saw came from Montreal annual concert called Osheaga. Osheaga brings a bunch of rock stars from all over the world. It used to be before COVID one of the North America's great shows. Now it's back again, and aside from they called it a super spreader event for COVID, but what it became is a super spreader event for racism and stupidity. And this guy stood up on the stage and absolutely demonstrated his view of the world. And there's a lot we can unravel from this thing and unwrap from this thing. And let me start from the first in the beginning. First of all, what the hell is that? If you put it up back on screen, it has a swastika and it says destroy, right? It says destroy. And the idea is we're trying to destroy fascism. Now, Stuart, there is no Nazi party around anymore. We got rid of that. Even in the 1970s, it was like, okay, we don't have the Nazis anymore. Stuart, get off the screen now. But the point of the matter is that what we've got today is everybody throwing this term white supremacy. Okay, and the Democrats are very good at it. The Joy Reid over at MSNBC did it again this week. She loves to refer to Ron DeSantis as creating this white supremacy regime. You've got people on The View. You've got this term being thrown around like I said, you and I are a bunch of Americans or Canadians. This term is now mainstream, cool, no problem. But it's vile. Okay. And the symbolism behind calling anybody like you or me or anybody a white supremacist is disgusting and uncalled for. But this is now a term that is acceptable in the woke community, in the left community. They're okay with it. So to see this performer on stage with this offensive symbol and there was no reaction just shows you the thinking of the left, thinking of the folks, the woke folk. And let me just tell you that, if you look at every Jewish organization, the Simon Wiesenthal Center, B'nai B'rith, the Center for Israel and Jewish Affairs, all urged this performer, Tyron Frampton, to really rethink what he just did, to apologize for what he just did, because he offended millions of people. Now, the organizers of Osheaga, okay, this concert, this is what they put up on Twitter in English and in French, because I'm not misinterpreting this, but this is the English version. A performer, which they won't even give his name, appeared on stage Saturday wearing a controversial T-shirt displaying a swastika that caused confusion. The T-shirt denounces the regime. What confusion? What regime? We sincerely apologize to anyone who may have misinterpreted this message and felt hurt. So now let me remind everybody that the Nazis appropriated this symbol from the Hindus, which was, and by the way, the story, my wife and I went home shopping in Toronto in the mid 90s. And I remember we walked into a Hindu home and we saw swastikas on the wall and we freaked out. We were like, oh my God, we just walked into a home that purports to Nazis and whatever, Stuart. And we had to be explained because we were naive to the fact that this was a Hindu symbol of luck, of good faith. And the Nazis appropriated it and turned it into a symbol of hate. A symbol of hate. Just like the freaking, Confederate flag in the United States represents a symbol of
But
hate.
but
This
David,
is
but right, but hang
Mhm.
on. Even if it's a peace symbol in the Hindu culture, the word on top says destroy,
Right.
and it looks like
Yeah.
there's bullet holes. So are you
Right.
saying destroy peace? Or you're either way,
No.
you're a double idiot, you're a moron. This punk ass kid is going to be eviscerated, will be a
He
low
won't.
life.
He will
He's
not.
not,
He will
oh, he
not.
will.
He will not because you want to know what? No one is screaming and yelling at him to be who's wrong. The Jewish community has been exceptionally vocal over the last 70 years, 75 plus years when it comes up to the Nazis and whatever. But if you look at who the Nazis hurt along the way, who they killed along the way, the gay community.
Gay,
Go
lesbians,
let
right?
absolute
Gay,
go on,
lesbians,
but not
Jews, non-whites, gypsies, 12 million other people. I mean,
correct.
6 million Jews. I mean, there were like 22 million people dead. I mean, these are the complete utter parasites of the
These
world.
are
And this moron wants to wear that symbol.
but
Dude,
the
I've
but the
seen idiots before. This guy's a class A jerk off.
but
I want to know where Kenny Hitzig is. Where's Kenny?
oh, leave
Info
your
me
leave your
Kenny.
leave your cousin alone because you know what? This isn't the Kenny Hitzig channel. This is the
No,
Rant
it's not.
Network. And frankly, Kenny, I would love to hear what you have to say about this one because
Yeah.
not a
Where's the
single
dude?
performer, no one on the left,
Where is someone in
absolutely
Hollywood?
no one. No, 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 no. Because Stuart, because we misinterpreted the message. He
Oh,
wants to destroy
here's my
the Nazi
message.
regime. Look,
This isn't
to
stereo.
you know
This
what?
isn't
Okay,
surround
okay,
sound.
okay, okay, okay. Stop. Would you stop being a child? Listen for a minute, okay? Because you're insulting what I'm trying to get across here. The
Okay.
reality of today, Stuart, and actually, no. Let me take back what I just said about you. You're right. You show somebody the middle finger. That's a symbol. If you tell somebody if you show somebody, like I said, the Confederate flag, that's a symbol. These are symbols that are meant to offend, to hurt, and yet here we are once again. The left sees, oh, good, we're attacking white supremacy again. Therefore, it's acceptable. It's good. The end justifies the means. I think that the folks at Oshiaga should be paying a massive price. I believe that this performer, Tyron Frampton, should be paying a very significant price and should be brought to task. There's a story of a football player over in Pittsburgh who said that he made a remark. He didn't realize to what extent his remark was invited by the Jewish community to understand the sensitivity of his remark, and now is a huge, like he apologized, and now he understands that. And by the way, he's African American, and this is the problem. The this so you can't call it I'm naive, I'm ignorant. In 2022, like you just looked up, in 2 seconds, you popped up. What is the significance of the Confederate flag? You can't tell me that any idiot today who picks up a swastika, is going to tell you today, I can't find out what the meaning of the symbol is. Who am I offending today? Because if the woke is so worried about your feelings and my feelings, then they've done a bad job.
David, it is very easy to understand that there are stupid people in this world, and most people that are more conservative and less liberal, I guess I'll use that terminology, we sort of seem to have pity on someone who's that emotionally challenged.
I am
I
not
feel
pity.
so
I have
I
no
feel
pity.
sorry for this guy. I feel sorry for this guy because you know what? A guy like this ends up in a gutter. He'll end up in a gutter because he's going to
No,
make
he's not
another
gonna have to
stupid
gut it because you
mistake.
know what? No, you know what, Stuart? The problem is I don't agree because today you've got Pink Floyd standing on stage. Okay, Roger Waters, who stands up on stage and throws out anti-Semitic remarks in concerts for decades. No one says no. Spandau Ballet, a group out of the UK, which refers to the way Jews were tortured. Spandau Ballet was a torture, means of torture in concentration camps of Jews, and nobody called them out on it. You look today, again and again and again and again, hate towards certain groups has become mainstream, acceptable. Stuart, you and I are part of that group that gets the hate thrusted at us. We are not on the right side of this argument today. We are on the right in terms of our beliefs. We may be on the right in terms of our political philosophies, but according to Hollywood and according to to the left and the woke and the artists and all these stuff, we are the enemy. We are the symbol of hate. We are the swastikas. So that guy is actually got a validation to wear that T-shirt by the silence, by other artists. Stuart, when Nikki Haley tried to remove the Confederate flag from the state legislature in South Carolina, she went through an extraordinary amount of challenges from racists who believed that this wasn't a symbol of hate, it was a symbol of race of the South. And all she kept saying was, if we're offending people and if we are offending the African American community, it has no place. This swastika is offending millions and millions of people. It has no place. And the left doesn't care because it does is pushes their stupid belief of the white supremacist agenda. I'm ill. I am disgusted. If I had a chance to yell and scream on the top of a roof, I would. And frankly, Oshiaga, for your so-called apology, you'll never see a dime from me. You will never see, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that everybody, until you correct this mistake, I will not support you, promote you to anyone. Stuart, I don't know how you feel about this, but if anybody feels that it is acceptable to have a swastika on their shirt under any circumstances, I don't want to be associated with them.
I don't disagree with you. I think it is repulsive. I cannot, say anything more than I think the guy is an absolute moron. But at the end of the day, David, there are lots of morons in this world that are just not going to go away. And so, with that in mind, we've wrapped up pretty much this quarter
Well,
hour. But
we're
let's
not.
look
We're
forward
not.
for next week.
But let me
Let's look
but let me
forward.
let me let me let me just throw one more question now to people. Okay, and I'd love to have the comment, including your cousin in Hollywood. Okay, this is one I want to ask. What is the so-called line? Where's that red line? Where's the red line that you cross between acceptance and hate? Between, you know, if you're telling me, and I especially am offended by anybody who has, I don't know if Stuart, in your family were impacted by the Nazis. Mine were. I know gazillions who were. And if you're telling me that this is acceptable in 2022, I need you to explain to me how. In what way can this be made acceptable, Stuart? And I do challenge your cousin, who refuses to acknowledge any of my statements. I really want to hear from him, and I want to hear from others how and in what way is this misunderstood, misrepresented, and not offensive. Can you explain it? Because I certainly cannot. But in the meantime, we could talk about people being offended like the Chinese with Pelosi next week. We could talk about people being offended, what's going on with Canada and the way it's treated the situation with Russia and the Ukraine. Everybody's offending. But next week, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bunch of other things too we can rant about. And so, why don't we wish our good friends here have a good weekend?
David, we got to wish them have a good weekend. We got to tell them we'll be back Monday. And I say goodbye, David.
I say goodbye, Stuart. Have a good weekend, everyone.